Melissa and Gamera owning the day.
Welcome to AdTech Ad Talk. It's Friday, March something
27th.
27th. Thank you, Gareth. And we are live to answer your questions, to absorb your comments, and talk about the latest and greatest from the ad tech world this week. To my right is Gareth Glazer.
Hey, everybody.
The sell side expert of AdTech Ad Talk, and I am the buy side expert, Adam Heimlich. If you've never seen the show, it's about buy side and sell side expertise coming together and taking live questions from you, the listener. Gareth, how are you feeling?
I'm all right, Adam. I just in case there's anyone out there who feels seen when I talk about this, I threw my back out this morning in a meaningful way. And, you know, it's one of those things where I've done it enough times that I can, like, get by, right? I know, like, the motions to go through, like, the right, like, things to do to, like, nurse myself back in. But, you know, it's just going to be one of those things where I can't really bend over for the next 72 hours.
I'm sure your children understand.
That's my number one fear is when my 3-year-old comes in the door, he's going to want me to pick him up, and I'm just going to be like, buddy,
Yeah.
walking over to you is about as far as we're getting today.
Do they have anything to do with how it happened?
No, I was with my trainer, and another one, age and wisdom. I was doing something I knew I shouldn't have been doing. Like I there are certain exercises that I just can't do anymore that throw my back up, and I did them. I was in that moment. I was like, oh, I can do this. I'll figure it out. And like animal
back to
brain,
zero.
yeah, lizard brain conquered rational brain, and I did it. And then I'm just incapacitated. But it's all right. I'll bounce
I
back.
feel seen. I had that for about a year, and my son, who was about 3 at the time, would refer to my broken back. Daddy has a broken back. He can't put me on his shoulders. And then like a year later, I was like, I could put you on my shoulders again. He'd be like, what about your broken back?
Yeah, no, that's gonna be the conversation tonight. Is Dad, how do I get in the bathtub? It's like, well, it's nice to let you figure it out, buddy. There you go.
Get him a little stare.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
All right, so we wanted to start with what we were talking about before the show. We decided to save it for the show, which is the release of Gamera viewability segments in Index Marketplace.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this. And Adam, so the more poignant question that you guys had put to me before this is, Gareth, why do these work? Like, how do you know what the viewability is going to be? And so to answer that question, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I talked about in architecture and a little bit about how I pitch publishers. So I pitch publishers, our direct sales tool uses the same logic. So my presentation at Marketecture was all about how in programmatic, we do a really bad job of describing ad placements to the point where many DSPs don't consider placement at all. And what do I mean by ad placement? I literally mean the ad whole. So when a website is loading, the specific ad, the 300 by 250 in the right rail, the 728 by 90 in the middle of the content.
But even that doesn't describe it, because is it the combination of that and a full page URL, or is it that across multiple pages?
Well, so there's an interesting reflection here, where we have chosen very purposefully to build an inventory classification that is page URL independent. And there's like IP and how do you do that? So it needs to be generalizable across URLs. However, it needs to be consistent in its performance, which means that it will not necessarily be the same across two our URLs, even if the publisher has labeled it the same. Our logic needs to detect when the same thing on two URLs, even if the publisher labels it the same, is actually going to perform differently.
How do you do that?
So we
AI?
have code on publish. Yeah, I mean, kind of. An algorithm, right?
Just
so
say
you
yes.
need to have
Just say yes.
Yeah, just say yes. AI. But I think that the really important thing, the way I describe this to publishers is, one, the way that publishers label their inventory today is crazy. So AI is actually a really good answer because the opposite of AI is how publishers have to do it, which is by hand. Like literally a human being ad ops person
Is that
logs
artificial
into a
intelligence?
system. Yeah, yeah. I mean, organic intelligence. Oh, I. Um, but like a human ad ops person logs into Google Ad Manager, the monopolist who owns 95% of publisher ad serving.
Oh yes, I've heard of them.
And yeah, they're around.
Mhm.
Um, and they have to build a little thing. And they call the little thing right rel 300 by 250. A person has to do that.
Yeah.
And then they export a thing from the tool and email it to an engineer and go, "Hey, engineer, can you put that little thing like on the page, like right here?" And that is how ad units are done, like, which is actually crazy. Like, and of course,
Yeah.
every publisher does this differently. It's super manual, and that's part of why, right? These don't have the descriptive value that they really should, because Facebook doesn't have that. There's no like tool that the Facebook engineering team logs into to make ad slots on Facebook. No, it's all code, right? It's all procedural. They know very precisely the all of the like metadata about the ad, where the ad is serving when it goes to a user. So that's what Gamera exists to fix. And what we do is we sit on the page, we run our algorithm, right? And we come, and as the page is loading, we make a dynamic read of, oh, this is this precise ad experience. And then it's taking everything into account, right? It's taking the viewport, it's taking the layout, it's taking all of those different elements into account when we are describing this specific ad experience. And what this does is it de-averages things, where when a publisher builds that right rail 300 by 250, they run a report in GAM, or you buy right rail 300 by 250 in your DSP, you run a report, you say, hey, what was the viewability of this ad unit? It says 50%. The reality is, especially if you're a publisher and you have a ton of inventory flowing through it, it was probably 70% sometimes, 50% sometimes, and 30% sometimes.
Where do you
Based
get that
on,
data?
so we are sitting on page and we measure every single impression that renders.
Wait, so
Um,
you're measuring the standard yourself. You're not doing what Double Verify says. You're measuring to the standard yourselves.
Correct.
Ah,
And
okay.
but we also measure what Google does, and we also look at what Double Verified and all those guys
You
do.
mimic their standard. Yeah, right. I get it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, viewability should be just viewability. The fact that people disagree on whether or not something was viewable is actually crazy, because there's a
It is a standard. Yeah.
well defined standard for this.
Yeah.
Like it is
Yeah.
meant to be the same regardless of who is measuring it. And yeah, so in describing the inventory this way, we de-average it and we store a big database of all of the Gamera ad units that exist, which is a bajillion of them, right? We're on 27,000 websites. It's an ungodly number of ad units. And for every single one, we have its historical viewability. And that means that we can say, oh, this specific ad unit is loading on this specific page in this moment. The historical viewability is this. And therefore, the predictive value of our historicals is just much better. To the point where I have a lot of publishers use this for direct sales. They want 90 or 95% viewable campaigns. They can run them and they deliver, because we find those
Got it.
95% viewable opportunities.
That'd be cool. Yes. So if you combine that with Chalice's bidding agent, we should be able to achieve the lowest possible cost per viewable impression.
And not only is it lower cost because you just gave publishers hives, but it is monetizing impressions that are unseen by the market. And that's the key, right? Because the publisher is actually still making more money when this happens, because they're selling inventory they would not otherwise have sold, because people don't know that's going to be super high viewability, because they
I have to
no
work
way
on that in my publisher pitch. Even though we make CPMs lower for the advertiser, they make more money because we're selling inventory that wouldn't have been sold. How do I best phrase that?
I think that was pretty good what you just said, right? You're monetizing things that would have gone unmonetized. It's not like you're getting preferential pricing somehow. You are buying things that the market cannot see right now. And because of that, you get a great deal. But the publisher makes more money too.
Every time buyers and sellers are better matched, they make more money, even though the buyers might realize lower prices. That's like a walled garden thing that I think most publishers aren't aware of.
Oh my gosh. It is in our heart of hearts. Like, better information leads to people making more money. Because also, right, when your buyers get better results, they're going to spend more money, right?
Yeah, they don't have faith.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work that way in the past. Because the buyers haven't been responsive enough to discovering better prices for better value.
Yeah,
that haven't been able to, yeah, to
totally.
take the feedback and change.
Yeah, the paradigm was the old paradigm was terrible. They were just like, hey, as long as it's good enough and it's hitting this list, I just want the lowest CPM possible, and that's the only thing I want. And like the budgets are kind of static. Um, People who actually care about performance, it's a whole different world. It's like, oh, if you can help me perform better, you will get more money.
Yeah, I wonder if I should give up, but I'm still debating people who still keep saying that the difference between doing something like what you just described and not doing it is having the data or it's data quality. And I'm just like, I'm getting tired of arguing. Like I was nice to someone being like, no, it's the modeling. It's the modeling. The data's commoditized. The data's available. The difference is the modeling. And the best response I could get is like, well, let's get a beer or coffee and chat about it, which is almost worse than them crying and running away.
Who's arguing with you? The model is like, don't get me wrong. I think the
Everyone,
data
yeah.
is very, very important, and my job is to build a good signal. But it's nothing. It's gold in a mine without a model. Like
Gold in
you
a
need
mine. That's
people.
a good way to put it. It's
Yeah,
gold in a mine.
it is. You need something to act upon the data in order for it to be valuable. Um,
I think maybe I think the way people think about walled gardens, if they do it all, is that they just protect their prices. That the reason they become walled gardens is to protect their prices. But another way to think about it is they're protecting their inventory from algorithms that can't properly value it, right? Like if
yeah,
there's like a good reason to do it, I mean, of course, their algorithm is going to put a thumb on the scale for their inventory, but the market should be more aware that if open web buying algorithms valued inventory properly, they're, an honest company wouldn't have to build a walled garden. Like someone like Reddit, if they felt good about it, might feel a lot better about it.
yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of truth to that. Um, I think that when I got into it on Twitter with that FBX guy a little while ago, but when FBX was rolling out, the CPMs were really, really, really low.
Yeah.
And I think they looked at that and they were like, oh, programmatic's not going to work to monetize this.
Yeah.
And then somehow through some weird magic, right, they build their self-serve ad platform and now their CPMs are 10 times what programmatic CPMs are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Pretty much
and
the same placements went from $1 to $10 while they moved on to a phone. That's a good trick.
yeah, it's very strange. And I think there's a lot to that, right, where programmatic hasn't properly been valuing inventory for a really, really, really long time. And so the everything that we know about CPMs is just probably wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm
and
starting to think that. So the
it's a,
results I'm seeing wildly different CPMs when you're valuing inventory and have uh, a more complete view of the user, not just working in one ID space and propensity to convert, but looking more broadly at value and at more people, like all US households based on a value to cost ratio. It's the advantage is so big. The case studies we're getting back now are mind blowing. Like I know they're honest case studies. I don't know if they'll blow the market's mind or if they'll just look at it as more case study BS, but I am seeing we just have a case study where there's a 66% CPM improvement in OLV, where we're the best on plan with a CPM that's 60% lower than the second place one. And we're probably monetizing some extremely undervalued inventory. Like we obviously have room to pay more for it. But it's just like it just goes to show that like if you go in with a better algorithm, like there's incredible value to be had because the status quo pricing is not only so bad, but so monolithically decided by 3 or 4 companies.
yeah, I really think that's a big part of it is the world kind of became how do I trick these three companies into paying me as much as possible in every scenario as much as possible? And it's just not a healthy ecosystem. Like, don't get me wrong, it's the game. Like, a lot, well, not all publishers. Some publishers played this game very, very well. A lot of them did not, and that's why a lot of them have collapsing programmatic businesses. But there is hope. Like, in an environment, right, where Chalice has all of the clients in the world and they're all competing and valuing things this way, my assumption is that the CPMs for everyone will just go up. And it'll be lovely.
Yeah, it could. I wonder, let's work through what we think might happen at Google. Google is doing MMM now. I forgot what they call it, but Google has an MMM offering. And MMM not, you can't really optimize it to it, but if you're trying to lift MMM, like this problem with CPM will come up immediately. It's the first problem that comes up is if you bid low, you get a bunch of garbage inventory that doesn't move the MMM. And if you bid high, it doesn't solve the problem. Then you just get a bunch of garbage inventory mixed in with some stuff that's better, right? So Google is going to have the challenge that Chalice has gone over the last 5 years is how do you slice this so that we pay the best possible price for the inventory that lifts the MMM,
Oh, oh,
right? Like that, what's going to happen?
I mean, allow me to be self-serving. We are building a series of products to push our data points
Signal,
into push our signal into MMMs. This is the direction that we are going. Is how do we get that there?
Well,
and
that's a pretty good way to get to encourage buyers that this will lift MMM. It's like, hey, this is what they base it on.
And my gosh, if you combine that where it's going into their MMM with something like Chalice, which is then getting feedback from the MMM, right? It gets feedback on it's like, hey, these are the signals that are moving the needle for us, and it can bid. Is that a thing, by the way?
We could prove that there's something to that correlation, that there's some causality there, and yeah, I guess Google's going to go through something like that, but it's going to be very strange for their business.
Well, I mean, it's only a portion of their business, right? It's the big enterprise buyers who care about that. Yeah. But I think we can fight them there, man. I'm ready to fight Google on those grounds.
That's the post I wrote last night. That's like it's going to be the first fair fight in digital advertising in 20 years. When the open web agentic stuff gets going, like we leave a lot of the integration barriers behind, can become as coordinated as they are, serve intent as well as they do. But our intent will be advertiser and publisher intent, whereas their intent has always been platform revenue. And it should be an interesting fight in the enterprise market.
I love it. I think that's a playground we can win on. Like and we've seen Google lose in enterprise before, right? We've seen them kind of lose in enterprise CTV. They did not nail CTV out of the gate the way that other people did. They lost in ad serving on the publisher side, and
they lost
TTV.
Premium publishing. Yep. And they lost CTV buying pretty much.
Yep.
It's been really hard for them to get in. I think they've lost big pieces of enterprise, bank, and auto offline stuff.
Really?
I mean, in the last generation they lost that. Now, like they're trying to win some back, but these are like places that Trade Desk just dominated. DV360.
Yeah.
So it's
gonna be open market when enterprise buyers actually stop buying against user ID lists and start buying against more sophisticated models. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be painful for Google. Like their audiences, I think it looks to me, and I could be wrong about this, but if you just take off their audiences, the CPMs go down like 66%. Like they go down like a huge amount. And I don't think my theory is they don't even use those audiences. Everything is based on an individual level scoring and propensity. And I think they get you to attach those audiences just to thicken auctions. They just want everybody in the yogurt category to use Affinity for yogurt because it thickens the auction. And people have been falling for this. And you'll perform just as well without it.
That's crazy. I mean, I believe it, right? Because they speak the language of the person running the campaign. They speak the language of the agency, which is, well, this
is free. It's
the plan had this on there. Yeah, exactly. and so they check the box. Yeah, man. I mean, I think moving to models is just everything. I feel like I've always felt this. I've always been confused why human beings needed to apply audiences. I've always been confused. It has never made sense to me.
Yeah, Facebook started telling people not to. Facebook finally told people to stop adding Affinity and intent audiences, at least in enterprise.
Let us find it. We will figure it out for you. We have the signals, right? You doing it by hand should not work better. If it does, like something is fundamentally wrong. But I'm sure there are lots of people watching right now who are like, Gareth, you've never done this. The systems don't work. like I make it work better when I do this by hand. I'm sure that person's out there.
I've been talking to Claude about marketing language, and he keeps telling me to use the line, we treat brand goals as unique because they are. I'm not sure if I'll use that, but it's Sasha's like not sure, but we probably will not use that. but there's something to it. I could see why Claude is suggesting that. It's like Google has lulled people into missing that when you attach that affinity for yogurt, you're saying that you're the same as every other yogurt seller and you want to compete with them in every auction. And if you just stop to think about that, it
Yeah,
doesn't hold up.
it's very silly. I mean, it contributes more and more to that argument. Like, hey, have all you brands been watching the stock prices of all the marketing companies go up over the past 3 decades while yours stagnated? It's like, yeah, when they sell you all the exact same product, your marketing is not differentiating you.
Oh, your marketing. You mean
Like,
the platforms. You mean
yeah,
Google
yeah,
and
yeah,
Meta.
yeah. The
Yeah.
platform stock prices continue to go up while the CPG brands do not, and it's like they're selling
Yeah.
you a marketing plan that is just an off-the-shelf thing that all of your competitors are using the same one.
Yeah.
Um,
I responded this to Oscar Garza at WPP the other day. He was like, there's no demonstrable value of digital marketing after 20 years. The whole theory of right place, right time, no one's proven it. And I was like, well, two companies have become trillion-dollar companies. So that there's a lot of marginal value. So I would say there's a huge amount of marginal value. Just it wasn't captured by advertisers or publishers. It was captured by two intermediaries. And that's
yeah.
odd, but you can't say the value's not there.
Oh, it's such an interesting thought. It's very true. Yeah, it's
Two,
fascinating.
two
It's
startups
fascinating. It's
became
fascinating.
trillion-dollar companies in 20 years. Like, I don't know. They kept advertisers happy enough.
Yeah. I mean, and they scooped off a tremendous amount of value that was created in the economy. They scooped
They,
it right off.
they took all the
Um,
incremental value. I
yeah.
looked this up too, again, using Claude, and there was a 10-year period where there were above 80 cents of every marginal dollar in digital advertising. It's about 2010 to 2020.
Oh
About
my gosh.
80 cents of every additional dollar in digital advertising went to the two of them.
I mean, that's just
10 years.
astounding.
I know, like they're still underrated for how successful their business was. Capture all the marginal value with thousands of advertisers and publishers participating and just treading water and spending more and more money every year to get the same results.
It's, I mean, the other thing that astounds me about Google is how they turned their ad tech acquisitions into just like the most successful acquisitions in the history of tech.
Yeah,
The like, have you seen the chart where it's like, hey, these are the highest like value to cost acquisitions that have ever happened, and I'm
yeah.
pretty sure DoubleClick is number one. Like DoubleClick, they bought for like a couple $1 billion, and it's worth just hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Like, it's
Yeah.
an unbelievable thing that
And
they pulled
Facebook and
off.
Instagram, right? Instagram was 1 billion and it must be worth like 100.
Yep, and it's all the ads, man. And sometimes you make good investments in ad infrastructure. Some companies are really
Oh,
good at
YouTube.
it.
I think YouTube is the single highest, isn't it?
Oh, it might be YouTube. Yeah. YouTube was a bonkers one too. Gosh, they just acquired an ad tech so
I
well.
remember when I can remember me saying when they bought YouTube, like, well, that was a huge mistake. Like, there's no way YouTube is gonna, you can't do search ads on YouTube. And it did take them many years, but
Yeah, no, they didn't make much money from YouTube for a while.
yeah,
But then it started to creep up. I remember when the YouTube revenue started to creep up, and the first time it got on my radar was like at 30 billion. They were like, I was like, ooh, this is a real business line. And that was the beginning of the enshittification of search. Was when they looked at that business line
yeah.
and they were like, hey, wait, O&O makes us way more money. We should do more of this. And
I was
um,
so wrong. I was like, it was very personal for me. I switched from search to the display and video to partly to get away from Google. And I was like, they'll never succeed in this. They don't know
eh,
what they're doing.
it's all right. My
They figured it
mother-in-law
out.
asked me if she should buy into the Facebook IPO, and I was like, they have a lot of users, but I don't know that they know ads, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And I was wrong. Should have bought a lot of the Facebook IPO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did tell my father-in-law, who I do advise on tech stocks, to buy after the Facebook IPO. I said they'll figure it out. That was after Google had figured it out. So I figured they were already hiring Google people, and I was like, yeah, there's a formula there that, and they'll figure it out. I don't know how much he bought, but he later made a lot of money on Trade Desk.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping a lot of people did. Um, Trade
Yeah,
Desk was a beauty.
now they're all wondering what to do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I really do think that there's something to breaking ad tech down into signal and models. That's because that's really all that there is to, and creative. I would give it those three. Creative does matter. It is real.
Yeah.
Um, and
Signal
those are
models
really
and
the three
creative.
components of ad tech. Those are the three.
Yep.
And we should, and companies either do a combination of those things or disgustingly none of them. And if a company does none of them, then shit's weird. That's
Signals, models, creative. Yeah,
yeah,
those are the components, but there also has to be infra, right? There has to be an environment where it all comes down. And I think that's what's coming into focus with what Index started and OpenX has adopted is like, oh, like the infra environment can be a single server. It
single place.
could be a cloud company, it could be a hardware company, it could be a DSP, frankly. Like
All of the other acronyms we have are just too confusing. You just need a location that has signal, models, and creative. You need them in one spot to do stuff.
oh yeah,
And as long as you have a way to get them in one spot, none of the other,
it's not just
everything
any
else is
spot.
noise.
It has to be a spot where zillions of low latency interactions could take place. So it's like, yeah,
This is true. Not just
it's not
any
that
spot.
many. You need a huge amount of hardware and a lot of networking work,
You
but there's a bunch
know,
of them.
it's getting easier and easier, man. Like
We'll
building
see.
in 2007, that was a really monumental thing to undertake, right? Building an ad exchange and processing all that stuff. 2026, I think it's a known thing. I think
But
that
where's
and
Microsoft? Has Microsoft heard of the ARTF? Is Microsoft aware that they own an SSP and a cloud company and an AI company, and that these
oh
things
God,
together are like two or three of the components that you
don't get
just
me
named
started on
as the
them,
only
man.
as the ones that matter?
They had all of the pieces. All of them. They have everything that everyone would love to have. They had a DSP
No,
that
man,
allowed you to integrate
just
custom
forget the
models.
past. Just now, they
Ugh.
have Azure, OpenAI, and Copilot. Xandr monetize, SSP, a huge amount of inventory on MSN and LinkedIn, and they're operating under like a 2012 framework.
As someone who has been a client of that system of those systems for a long time, I can tell you they're running them with a skeleton crew.
Yeah,
And at some
that's
point,
part of it.
someone at Microsoft just basically made the decision we don't care about the ads business. Like that's just what it is. Like it came down from on high. It didn't, and they looked at it. I think that the way that like consultants like who wouldn't be in a space, right? If you were to step back, abstract look at it, don't think about the strategic components at all. Just think about the finances and just look at like, hey, Microsoft is this big. We make this much money. How much money does this thing make us, and how much does it cost us?
Oh yeah, it doesn't
Oh,
have a
that's
blip.
not. Yep,
Yeah,
it's not a blip.
I know someone who knows Satya and said that you wouldn't get a meeting with Satya unless the opportunity was like at least 10 billion. So, like an
Yeah,
absurd
man.
number. And like, yeah, that's a high number for ad tech. But I also think they have the experience of buying LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn was like 30 billion. Sasha, can you please look up what Microsoft paid for LinkedIn? It was an absurd number. And then they didn't touch it. We make a lot of fun of LinkedIn that it doesn't, it's not innovative and hasn't done much. But like, I think it made back that 30 billion several times despite being just totally left alone. So I think Microsoft's lesson was when we try to do things in advertising, it goes poorly. Whereas if we do, it was 26.2 billion.
Yep.
Whereas if we do nothing,
Yeah.
just leave it alone with its skeleton crew and don't try to innovate, it will grow and will make money.
Well, I think some people talked about that, right? That there used to be an ethos at Microsoft when they acquired companies of trying to integrate them,
Yeah,
and that they've moved past that. And now when they acquire companies, they leave them and they
leave
just
it
let them
alone.
run independently, basically. And the
Yeah.
people actually like this one more because when they tried to integrate them, they broke them. But like, I don't know, man. It's hard to look at. It's hard to look at all of the strategic things that they have and see them just be so disparate and like in no way congealed. It's very frustrating. But yeah, Adam, I know for a fact they shut down a nine-figure business line. I know for a fact that they did. Just because it didn't make enough money, because nine figures was not
This
enough.
distraction. It was a
It was a
distraction.
distraction. Exactly. And
But
I'm like, "Ah,
Satya, the CTO, CEO of Microsoft, comes from the cloud division. So if there's whoa, what are you doing?
I'm
If
just
there's
working on my back
anything,
here, guys. Sorry.
if there's anything that he has his eye on of making Microsoft money in the future, it's Azure. So yeah, like advertising and media might not show up, have not shown up yet on his Azure plan, but they will have to.
Oh, God. What if they had been the core OpenAI infrastructure testing partner for advertising? Like,
If Azure
It
had
could
been
have
instead
been.
of, yeah.
No, just all of their advertising infrastructure, right? OpenAI talked to everybody. They're talking to Criteo, they're talking to the Trade Desk. What if Microsoft had been like, hey, look, we have this amazing, integrated, mature advertising business that we can just like plug and play into your ecosystem? Like, the opportunities that they're giving up by not being in advertising are just bonkers.
What do you mean? The OpenAI should have powered like the MSN network or something? Because
No,
that's not plug and play.
no, the reverse. When they were putting ads into ChatGPT and ChatGPT was opening it up to programmatic and they were
Oh, it
trying to
should have
figure out
just been
how did they
Microsoft ads. Yeah,
just
let's start
Microsoft
with
ads.
Bing. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
take your Bing
plug
keyword list. Yeah.
totally plug it
'Cause-
right in. Like plug and
Yeah.
play. We have
Especially
all of
because
this
everyone's
infrastructure.
Bing keyword list is their Google keyword list. So if they just taken that as inputs, it's like you don't have to give us anything. We already have the keywords that are important to you. Let's make that a text input for contextual placement. Yeah, that's what I think they would have done if they were serious about turning, I don't think OpenAI cares about advertising enough to make $100 billion business like they need to.
Yeah.
They'll make a billion or two and say they're just starting, but they could be much more aggressive against Google by leveraging their partnership with Microsoft, and maybe we'll see it.
I don't know, man. I think they have an aversion to ads and it drives me bonkers. Because
Yeah.
also, we have a segment on our
Snobs.
show called Stinked That is the extent to which LinkedIn
Yeah.
has penetrated the zeitgeist. Like it is
Yeah.
so deep. I have to spend so much time on LinkedIn, whether I want to or not. And it's so durable. Like it's so durable. It should be this spectacular advertising business. It's not.
Yeah. Well, I know we should go into competition with them. You just need everyone's resume. Come on. How hard could it be?
How hard could it be? Oh God, and there are these network effects now. Like, oh, this is crazy. Um, but yeah, I definitely think that it's been hard to watch Microsoft like make good investments and then not strategically align them in ways that are obvious to people in advertising. Um, it's just tough. It just must be bureaucracy, and I don't know
All
what,
right, I
man.
want
Big
questions.
companies like
Maldo, how many people are in the chat right now? Is there any way we could make them ask a question? We could offer Chalice swag, Chalice coffee cup, Chalice winter hat.
Pretty quiet in the chat today. Let's see if we can get
Oh
people
yeah, we got
talking.
the cap. You can get a cap. The limited edition Chalice Databricks cap.
I love that first cap. They're so sick.
You can get these by asking a good question today. Best question, or everyone who asks a question gets a mug or a hat. That's how bad I want. David, can you play the swag sound from Silicon Valley?
Swag!
One more time.
Swag!
That guy's a comic genius, Russ Hanneman.
I mean, it was a wonderful, wonderful bit.
Chris
Doors,
Comas.
the
No one wants
doors
to
open
know.
like this. I want them like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when
That's
he
all right.
left the tequila on a key and then they deleted their whole program? He put the
Oh, I
tequila
sure
on a
do.
delete key. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. Just like
Kind of thing that happens.
when he let OpenClaw delete the entire code base. That was the other one. The best way to get rid of all the bugs was to just get rid of the code.
Well, we're not getting a question. All right, let's go to the news.
Let's do the news.
I knew it was 12:30 by feel. All right. Our first story. Oh, the ANA study on principal media. The headline is Governance Around Principal Media Failing to Keep Pace with Industry Adoption.
I have so many questions about this, Adam.
Yeah.
Like, one, how
Yeah,
is principal media not like fancy affiliate marketing? Like,
Fancy
is there a
affiliate marketing.
conceptual difference here? Yeah. So, an affiliate marketing campaign, you define a conversion event and you tell an affiliate, hey, for every sale that comes through your link that I give to you that's unique to you, I will give you 10% of the sale. And that is the arrangement. You get paid when a sale occurs. And you get and like, isn't that kind of what principal media is? Like
No.
the advertiser says, like, hey, this is my goal. I will pay you when you achieve this number of goals, and that is the term. Is that not what it is?
No, it has nothing to do with goals.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Explain
buying
principal media
it's
to
like
me.
how Jeff Green called it house flipping, and that is a better metaphor for it. It's the agency makes a huge upfront buy, takes possession of all that media, and resells it to their clients at a markup.
So principal media buying has nothing to do with advertiser goals. It's
No,
entirely has to do with agencies buying media in bulk. And theoretically
yeah,
the reason your clients would want you to do that though is because you would get lower rates if you buy in bulk, wouldn't it
lower
be?
rates altogether. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the liquidation method has to do with goals, right? So the way the agencies get rid of this principal media buy is called secondary liquidation, which means you have to find another buyer to buy what you just bought. So the way that they do it is they aggregate a big pool of principal media buy and then liquidate it through a service where the client agrees that they're buying an outcome, like affiliate, just like affiliate marketing, and
Hmm.
that they don't need media plans in order to do that. So they're saying the agency is free to do whatever they want, buy whatever media they want at whatever prices they want, as long as they deliver the clicks, the visits, or the sales. And
Okay, that was the part of it that I thought was like affiliate was like it just hey, I'm hit the outcomes. I don't care what you spend. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
I get my outcomes and I get this many
that's the way
outcomes
they
for this much
usually
money.
liquidate it. That is the up and up way to liquidate it. Like there's a department at Publicis called Apex that has that model. If you're buying an Apex, you don't see prices on the media. You're buying some result, and it's totally it's transparent. So people don't always understand that. Principle doesn't mean evil. There's it's a way of doing business that's completely accepted, and if not transparent, then it's on the up and up, or whatever you want to call it. It's compliant. But then the more sneaky way to do it is that you just try to influence media plans to be like, hey, everyone buy more MSN because we got, a billion worth for only
Mm.
500 million. So make sure MSN is on every plan, and make sure it looks good. Make sure you're recommending MSN all the time. And if the client says they don't want MSN, let me know. That kind of thing happens at agencies. And I used MSN as an example because there was a huge Microsoft commitment involved in the sale of my former agency, Avenue A, to a holding company that then had an enormous amount of Microsoft. It's a long time. It's ancient history. They had a lot of Microsoft inventory to move. So that's where I saw it. But that happens. And I don't know. Whatever. It's nefarious, but there's plenty of blame to go around if that sort of thing is happening, especially the buyer, who should be more involved in their media plan than anything could be pushed on them. They should know how the properties are performing, and if they're getting, secondary liquidation on at the expense of their media performance. Yeah, so I mean, Vinnie had the piece of people finger pointing. Anyway, this there's a lot of finger pointing going on. But the ANA is another one who's on the up and up and saying that there's been so much innovation around principal media and secondary liquidation that the clients don't always understand all the things the agencies are doing. And the ANA presumably will help these clients understand better the things that are going on. There's another legitimate one that almost no one understands called trade. Trade is hilarious. Have you ever heard of a trade agency and what they do?
Is a barter agency a trade
Yeah,
agency?
barter agency. I'm not even
I've
sure
heard
I
of
could
it.
explain it. I remember talking to those people in the agency world, and sometimes they would have possession of things like 10,000 jars of pizza sauce
Yeah,
from
silly
Papa
shit.
John's
Like,
and that went under.
like the actual goods, and
Yeah.
like they would do deals for the actual goods that they needed to then go sell.
Yeah. But the theory behind it is that media is a fungible asset. If you have, $1 million worth of CTV placements on Hulu, you can trade those. Like that has some asset value, can be traded for other assets, and you can match parties who might need need media or not need media. And agencies have gotten involved in this as it's a way to make money, a way to use their buying leverage, and a way to sometimes to liquidate assets that they might get stuck with after principal media buying.
Oh, it's so interesting. So they're like downstream of principal media buys where they like have
Not
stuff
entirely. You could have a barter
yeah,
agency that is not
on its
downstream of
own.
media buys. But I
Just
think
goes
the
out
reason
there
the
and takes
barter
positions.
agencies tend to be attached to the big agencies is that.
Oh, it's so interesting.
You
I mean,
could
I
just
have
have a
like,
standalone barter.
I've always kind of felt that the up and up way of liquidating and principal media buying should work. Like that's such like an efficient market mechanism where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm really good at marketing. I can go to an advertiser. The advertiser can say to me, I want as many of these things to happen as possible. And
Yeah,
I can arrive at a number. Here's what I think it will cost for each of those things. And I
yeah,
should be able to do that. And that's always
yeah.
been reasonable to me.
It is.
Yeah.
If you could go back to 1999 and advise people, I would say like, look, we have a system and a process for buying and selling a class of assets that's about to increase exponentially, right? The system is built for 100 or 150 assets total, and it's about to become 150 million. And the technology is not really going to keep up with this for 25 years. So how do you want to handle this? And what you just described would be one good way to handle it is like, I want someone who can handle all those assets to buy them at the best prices they can buy and then sell me outcomes based on that. Like that's so reasonable, right? As if people now get mad at advertisers to be like, oh, they don't know what's going on with their media. You know, they don't understand how header bidding works and all this shit. And it's like, yeah, because they're a fucking sneaker company. Like, why should they?
Yeah.
Right? So like,
Well, they have a
yeah,
bajillion channels. Like it's
yeah,
complicated. There's so much. They have to think about these things constantly.
yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense. And then when you get really big, you get really fancy. Like I'm sure you could do principal media buys on an MMM somehow, where it's like, hey, we will figure out how to drive incremental sales according to your MMM. You will reward us based on those numbers. But it's our job to make them go up.
yeah,
Like and reasonable. Like
yeah.
advertisers should be able to just say, hey, here's what success means to me. And don't get me wrong, they should be good at that. I think a lot of people are not good at that. That's all I can assume.
No, what
Um,
really blew it were Google and Facebook. Like the holdcos, all they really had to sell was bigness. Because they were so big and they could get the best rates on anything, they had all this optionality, right? They could do the model we just described, and they could do barter, and they could do, even they could just say we have the best rates and pass those on to their clients and take a fee. Totally on the up and up. It's like the bigness itself resulted in lower rates and then optionality
right.
for ways to make money. And then basically Google said, we're not giving you lower rates no matter what. Like
Yeah.
in 2005, they said that, and they didn't start giving breaks on rates until, the YouTube deals 10 years later. So right then agencies were like, shit, now we have to get good at digital advertising. And I think everything went wrong after that, because even to the extent they could get good at digital advertising, the brands would say, well, I don't want to pay for that. I don't want to pay for high-priced employees and, engineers and data scientists from my agency. Like everything became mismatched and confused. So I think it's another case of the two companies that captured all the value, just disrupting this, wrecking the service market and not replacing it with anything, right?
Yeah.
If they weren't going to give them rates, then they should have served the advertisers, right?
Yeah.
They just wrecked the service model and didn't replace it with anything, I guess, because it was to their advantage.
Yeah.
But
Well, then they had the thought, well, servicing people is not fun. We don't like to service.
yeah, we don't want to service people.
Service is awful. We don't want people
Yeah.
to log into a little UI and it tells them you made money. Then they
Yeah.
give us more money. That's what we
The
want.
enterprise market is slow, but not stupid. And I think if 25 years later, I think the time is running out on the Google Facebook model of, no, we don't serve you. You don't find out if the deal was good or not. And we need more money every year. The clock is ticking.
I mean, it's cool. The tech is so cool. I just hope the internet survives.
Tech is cool, but the cat's out of the bag. When Napster
Yeah.
came out, I saw Chuck G describing it as someone who's selling M&Ms on the corner for $1 each, and suddenly there's a hole in the bag, and all you see is bent backs. People picking up those M&Ms that used to cost $1. That's what he called Napster, and I think it's quite something happening with AI. It's like the only, if you wanted fancy AI that matched buyers and sellers, it was Google, Facebook, Amazon, and now there's Chalice. There's a bunch of other options for getting machine learning that's just as powerful and it gives you options to drive your own outcomes and use your own data.
Oh, it's
We'll see.
amazing. Are there really lots of options?
There
I
will
feel
be,
like
yeah.
Chalice is right here. Maybe there will be. I think that could be true. But I
Yeah,
don't
there are
see
others. I
lots of
mean,
options. There are a few companies that are old companies that did this inside of DSPs, but I know what the DSPs would give you access to. There was no way to execute really like complex, valuable models on the DSP access thing. They sequestered it too much information. Like that's why the index thing is so cool. Or
especially cost.
yeah, they were controlling
Oh, but
costs. They like
yeah, whatever. It's inevitable. There's a hole in that M&M bag. Well,
yeah.
when you see people picking them up, when are you going to see people picking them up and the price come down? It remains to be seen, or maybe something else happens. But we're at the hole in the bag stage.
It's gonna be great. Good for the economy. We need this.
All right, next news item, please. Good job, A&A, whatever you did there. I never got to read it. Oh yeah, this is the pointing thing. Vinnie Rinaldi, head of media at Hershey. We covered this last week. I guess he turned his post into an article now and used the image of the multiple Spider-Man multiverse. Multiple Spider-Man is a feature of the multiverse. Anyway, pointing at each other as a way to talk about how agencies and tech companies and brands are all pointing the finger over cost and transparency when the work is to get better understanding and predictions of value, right? The work to be done is on the value side. Why are we on the cat? I said one
Yeah.
of the keywords.
Oh.
Aldo, what's the word that makes you zoom in on the cat? Or was it someone in the chat?
It was just me being random.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
There is a word that will cause that though. Anyway, yeah, it's the building has to be done on the value side. Like I've been saying this, like there's just been obsession on the cost side, and it's driven by very intense competition for very few IDs that have high propensity to convert in retail or insurance, and it's silly. If you do better prediction on the value side, it takes a lot of pressure off the cost side, and it's what the enterprise brands really need. Hershey's conversion propensity is there's no prediction of propensity to buy a Halloween bag of Reese's. The work has
Oh my
not
gosh.
been done.
and for all of my publishers listening to the show, this whole like all of the money goes to who the user is means that money is not going towards media. That money is going to the ID company. It is
That's right.
not going to you as a publisher.
In the
So
case of
move
Google,
to-
not the ID company, but it just goes to
Oh.
Google, who makes a fake audience and then collects on the intense competition in that auction, where the publisher only makes one CPM, where they should be making a whole bunch. Well,
A
there's
whole
all this
bunch.
willingness
Oh
to
my
pay.
gosh. Maybe that's like one of the tip of the spears for the discussion with publishers, Adam. It's listen, what we are doing is going to reward you for value, which you have not been for 20 years.
Yeah, or just show them like how many, just if you show all the auctions and all the costs, right? There's just one tower at the end, right? There's
Yeah.
like one tower of $10 auctions. They say, we're just going to spread that out.
Yeah.
We're going to spread that value out. So you won't get this $10 on these IDs anymore, but you'll get maybe $5 on across the
Oh,
board.
and it won't even be 10, right? The publishers are getting 5. 5 is going to Google.
Five's
Like
the top.
most of them are just going to Google. And I actually see this. So one of the things that Gamera does is we monitor user value, right? So we can measure how much advertising revenue a user has generated. And on every programmatic publisher that we have ever seen, there is a remarkably small percentage of users that are wildly valuable, and it's consistent across publishers. And it's because of how programmatic's built. I'll bet they're the same users. I can't see that because we don't use third-party cookies, and I only know like inside of a publisher. But I'll bet it's the same users. I'll bet there's a laundry list of high-value users.
Yeah. They
you
don't
want a
clear
real
their
dirty-
cookies.
They don't clear them. You want a real
That's a
dirty
big part.
secret? You want a real dirty secret? You know how MFA became MFA? You know how it scaled so fast?
No.
I got a good one for you. So this is real inside knowledge. This has never before been discussed in public ad tech because you have to really know the insides of these businesses to know this. What they all did, they were some of the most sophisticated Facebook buyers out there, and they would measure the amount of money that they made from a user after they came to the site, and they would build audience groups in Facebook to remarket to the highest programmatic value users. So what the MFA publishers were actually doing is they were figuring out which users had those high CPMs and then retargeting them on Facebook to get them back to their website. That was a real thing. Happened at scale.
Clickbait,
So
right? A
the
clickbait ad to an MFA site.
bingo, but to a high value user.
Yeah,
So they were
it's gotta
figuring
pay
out who the high intent users were on Facebook. And actually there was a pricing discrepancy, right? Because the programmatic high value users are not necessarily high value on Facebook. And that was the core of the arbitrage, is if you could find the high value programmatic users inside of Facebook, you could scoop them out and you could make money from it.
Jeez.
And that's what the business was. And that's why
Bad for the economy. There's no
not
real
good for the
value.
economy. Not good. I mean, just like a fool
Like
and
a
their money are
muffin.
easily parted, right? If you're just buying a list of user IDs, the market's going to figure out a way to give you what you want, and it's not going to be, it's not necessarily going to be what you wanted. That's
All right.
yeah.
So on the Hershey front, I said no one's doing that work, but Chalice is doing the work of the actual value for Hershey, and it means spreading out their high bids on more auctions across more publishers. Like this is already happening, and the trend has some inevitability to it because Hershey's getting better results and Vinnie's the leader. And
It's so awesome. Like this is the best. Publishers don't get a lot of good news. This is good news for publishers.
I hope so.
Publishers, there is actually something that is now going to reward you for being a high quality
For
publisher.
being a good publisher.
Yeah, like this, that hasn't been the case. Like it hasn't. That's also why ad density is so high. Is because the only way publishers can make more money is to slap more ads on there.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Yeah, I was going to talk about something, but I decided not to. All right, next story.
Okay.
Yes, the big case. This is big news this week. Meta and YouTube are found negligent in landmark social media addiction case. There was expected there would be some win here eventually on some appeal, but they won the first big round. And it's a big surprise. The fines aren't expected to be huge. I mean, they're huge for normal people, but not huge for
hundreds of millions, right?
only hundreds of millions for these multi-billion-dollar companies. But it opens the door for more of these in more countries.
Yeah.
And
if all 50 states and all the countries exactly the same fine, it's material.
I read that one of their defenses is, we have so many users that some of them are going to have mental health problems and commit suicide, right? Because we have billions of users, and the odds are, right, that it's just correlation. And my comment on that is like, that's a lot like their attribution model. Like you just reach everyone, you're going to get credit for conversions. Now they're saying that method doesn't work. If in a lawsuit, it's not valid, but in attribution, if you reach everyone and take credit for all the conversions, that's valid.
It's very funny. Yeah, I think they deserve to lose this one.
Yeah,
we're really cavalier with the effects on mental health of social media. Like
yeah, they had a lot of internal evidence, right? It was the internal evidence, I think, that did the men.
Damning. Internal emails.
Yeah, they had it. Yeah, they put it.
That makes sense. We were talking about social media stars who were just repugnant before the show started, and this is a continuing problem. Like it's a very real thing, and I think that there's something to people who say they're free speech absolutists. Those people exist. They're a real thing, and they make a slippery slope argument. They're like, well, hey, if somebody's in charge of what speech is, like, then that's terrible. And my response to that is, yeah, that's maybe true for governments, and we have to be really careful about free speech in governments. With companies who are like private organizations, if they cause harm to people, yeah, that's a thing. The free speech defense doesn't work if a company causes
Or the
harm.
liability law, right?
Yeah.
Under that law that says they're not liable for, defamation or something on their platforms. To create a situation where nobody's liable.
Yeah.
Nobody's liable if there's harmful posts on social media. The company's not liable, and the person who said it isn't liable. They're anonymous, so nobody's liable no matter how much damage is caused. Like, how long is that going to go on? That's insane. But you know what? I don't know if you know this. Your kids are too young, but my daughter's in 3rd grade, and in the New York City public schools, there's a digital citizenship unit.
Really?
I was just going through the materials about this last night. where they're basically learning not to act like a shit poster on X or a Facebook cyberbully. And they have it's like a whole unit that has to do with like
It's
telling an
good.
adult and the harm that it causes. It is good, but I was very surprised that like they're teaching this in third grade, and every day I go on to X and see a million people who break all these rules that they're now being taught in third grade, and maybe
I
break them
mean,
myself sometimes.
cyberbullying is real. Like cyberbullying is a real
Yeah, it's good
problem.
they're teaching
Like
it to little kids. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
not
hear about
okay.
it still. Like when I talk to like high schoolers who are babysitting for my daughter, they talk about students who are, they
Yeah,
run accounts and things like that. This is something that we need to police.
it's bad in high
Um,
school. But
and
Roblox does a
also,
good job.
do they really?
Yeah,
Reddit would tell you that Roblox is a cesspool. Um,
I don't
they're
know.
pretty
It looks
good.
good for my kids. Like, yeah, that they're anyone who asks how old they are gets banned. Like, it's really the system seems to block and ban accurately, as far
It's
as I can
great.
tell. Yeah,
I love that.
just shows it can be done.
I think there are lots of other ways to do it too. Like the game Rocket League, like by default, there's no chat, right? And there are a
Yeah,
lot of ways to structure the internet such that the inputs and outputs are just very limited. Like just make it like very specifically what this is, and that's great.
yeah.
Um,
In
Gareth, you
Roblox, you
play
just can't
Rocket
say
League?
certain things. Yeah.
I did at one point during the
Let,
pandemic. We had a weekly Rocket League game. It's very
let me
fun.
let me know if you want to boot it up again, my friend.
Oh, I love Rocket League. It's a very silly game. Yeah, I like this. I think that we need more accountability for this. And society is getting better at it. I think that's real.
And let's tell people to read Careless People, the Facebook book that got pretty much squashed from marketing in the US. Careless People is an incredible book about the inner workings of Facebook that everyone should read. Have you read it?
I haven't read it.
Oh, you should read it. Listen to it because the author has this incredible New Zealand accent.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's about all of the decision making that went on for the ads platform, right? Where they were like
No, it's
basically
public policy
ruthless.
decision making. It's
Public
about the
policy
public
decision.
policy decision making.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
She was the head of public policy who wrote this book. It's crazy, crazy story.
Oh man, wild.
It's crazy. And the people around Zuckerberg come off so bad that Zuckerberg ends up coming off kind of good. It's incredible. He's like, but he's not, he's like the fifth worst in the public policy inner circle, with
That's crazy.
Sheryl Sandberg being like second worst. And one guy is just like I forgot his name. Really,
A,
yeah,
J-
incredible,
a
incredible
James
book.
Bond villain.
There's like a James Bond villain. There's like a Trump level villain in there. Two of
Yeah,
them.
like a caricature of this is what a bad business person is.
Yeah,
Like there's just the bad guy.
horrendous.
Take the food out of the children's mouths.
All right. Thanks to the chat this week. You're very, very quiet, and I want to commend you for
Oh.
that.
We have one more story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
One more.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the
We had
Guardian
one we
US.
packed out at the end.
Yeah.
Gareth, what does this mean? Is this what we were talking about? Is the Guardian finding value?
I hope so. I hope so. I really do. But as someone who does a lot with Signal, I know that there is no such thing as build it and they will come. So Chalice is
No
one of
such thing
very
as what?
few
Oh, build it and they will.
build it and they will come.
Yeah.
Chalice is one of very few companies, right, that I talk to where I'm like, oh, I can get this to you and you will use it to make more money and bid more on my publishers. I commend the Guardian for turning to quality, which they did in this, and they talked about leveraging contextual and intent signals from their site. So this article was written in the lexicon of agencies still want to buy segments. My instinct for why their CPMs will be higher is one, they are probably the beneficiary of a few initiatives in the industry, right? So SP 500, like Guardian's a very recognizable brand. If you are one of the publishers that is on that list, that's on the Jounce Bellwether list, that's all of those things, I think that your CPMs probably have sustained moderately well. The other one is, I'll bet they have a good programmatic sales team, man. I will tell you this as someone who's in market selling products right now, because so many people haven't been buying for value. And you're exactly right, Adam. They've just been spending higher CPMs and just getting more expensive trash. there has been a tremendous opportunity for publisher sales teams to get into agencies and be like, look, I can get you like the targeting that you're looking for in a deduplicated environment, and it's going to perform well, right? Like, because I will cut through the cruft for you, because if you just log into an exchange and buy a segment open, you're going to get all kinds of craziness.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying is they're doing this the old-fashioned way. They're shoe leather and convincing people, and they're getting something closer to their actual value. But this is not the kind of signal and model thing that we're expecting to hit later this year.
No, I don't think so. I think that this is a good, effective programmatic sales team in the market. And that's the thing every big publisher should have. Because quite frankly, there is not wide enough buyer adoption of solutions like ours to move the needle yet.
Yeah.
Right. There's simply too much volume out there. There's too many people buying against ID lists still, that like you can get in there and you can materially like move the needle for yourself as a publisher.
You can't knock the hustle.
No, not at all. I truly believe that it is the proper thing for publishers to do until the markets catch up and properly value their inventory. I think this is the right way that they should do it.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It is hard, man.
New York salespeople who are effective, they are.
I've been meeting more and more, because we have our direct sales products, and every time I meet a publisher, I'm like, good on you guys. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm happy they're doing it. Happy people are still buying quality media from publishers, and I will continue to work so that you don't have to just have your sales team to do this. I will try and bring this in the open with shouts.
Amazing. I love it.
I'm going to go crawl under something for 6 to 8 hours.
Sorry about your back.
That's
Don't take too much ibuprofen. That's the most pain I've ever experienced.
Oh, no. Did you like OD on ibuprofen?
Yeah, I tore out my whole stomach lining. Don't do that.
Oh, my God. I can't imagine.
Someone gave me these like giant leaves that were like 10 aspirins at once. And I was like, oh, these make my back not hurt at all. So I just kept taking them until I had no stomach lining. Don't do that.
I'm so sorry. That's terrible.
It was worse than the back pain. But anyway, go see my physical therapist. She's amazing.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you for all the questions today.
Darn, that's the
Yo,
end.
the crowd is back, the lights are dim, front rows buzzing, it's about to begin. Ad tech, ad talk, they're taking the stage. Adam and Gareth on a